Hello and welcome back to Yoga for You. My name is Cheryl, and today's practice will be a overall practice for the body, and we'll start laying down on our backs. We'll come up to a standing position and then back down onto the floor, and then we'll end with our relaxation pose, Shavasana. Before we begin, let's settle down and settle in and find our seated posture. So if you rock a bit from side to side, you'll find those two sit bones, and you want to sit on them equally so that your spine has a chance to be nice and tall. Take a moment and close your eyes and imagine a string on the top of your head, lengthening your spine up to the ceiling. And we'll close our mouths as well. And bring your mind and awareness to that space below the nostrils, above the upper lip, where you witness and observe the breath as it falls into the nostrils and falls out of the nostrils. Just let the breath fall in, try not to pull it in. And let the breath fall out rather than pushing it out. Notice if your shoulders are relaxed, your arms and hands relaxed, and relax your face. Your mind and awareness are on the breath as it falls in and out of the nostrils. You can feel the breath as it touches your nose. Notice how this brings you into the room and onto your mat, to where you are right now, here, in this moment. Now your mind might wander, and if it does, the moment you notice your mind has wandered, bring it back to the nostrils, back to the breath, back to where you are right now, here, in this moment. Leaving everything else behind, all the busyness of your life, all the worries, everything that's going on right now. Just put that on hold and focus on your breath. Keep bringing your mind back to your breath. Notice the pause or the gap at the end of each breath. Now after your next exhalation, we'll slowly and mindfully go down onto the floor, onto our back, with our knees bent. You can have your eyes opened or closed. And then have your feet about hip width apart. And then check that your head is in a good alignment, meaning your chin is not jutting up to the ceiling. Bring your chin down so it's level with your forehead. And then place your hands on the front of your pelvis, finding those frontal hip bones. And when you start your pelvic tilting, your pelvis moves towards you and then away from you. And you can feel that with your fingers. You can feel the pelvic bones moving away and then towards you. So you release, and then pull the pelvis towards you, and then release. So we exhale when we pull the pelvis towards us. Inhale, release. Exhale, roll the pelvis towards us. It's nice to imagine the pelvis is like a ball, rolling towards you and rolling away from you. Exhale, rolling towards you. Inhale, rolling away. Exhale, and inhale. This is very good for your back and your hips. So now we're going to add to this. The next time that you roll your pelvis towards you, press your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up off the floor, and then you lift your spine up off the floor. And then slowly rolling the spine back down onto the floor. So we would inhale, exhale, roll the pelvis towards you, press the feet into the floor, roll the spine up off the floor, and then roll the spine back down onto the floor. Inhale, exhale, you're lifting up. Inhale, rolling back down. Exhale, pelvic tilt towards you, press your feet into the floor and roll the spine up off the floor and rolling it back down. Now we'll bring the knees to the chest, hugging the knees to the chest, and we'll roll from side to side, massaging the lower back, bringing our awareness to the breath, following the breath in and following the breath out. And coming back to the center, we'll bring the feet to the floor once more, and we'll do a couple of variations of this bridge pose that we've been doing. So this time, as we roll the pelvis towards us, press the feet into the floor and lift the pelvis up off the floor, we'll raise the hands up and rest them on the floor behind us. Rolling the spine back down and bringing the arms to our sides. So we would inhale, exhale, roll the pelvis towards us, press the feet into the floor, and with the opposite breath, roll the spine back down onto the floor. One more time. This time, we'll stay up here. This is a traditional bridge pose when you stay lifted, and you can bring your arms down beside you. You may want to interlace your fingers, bring the arms towards each other, and you could tuck your shoulders under your back. So this is going into a more advanced variation of lifting higher. And we don't want our knees to flail out to the sides. And then a more advanced variation is putting your hands under your lower back and lifting up high. But this is only for the intermediate students. You always move mindfully and slowly with awareness, and then we'll bring the knees to the chest and roll from side to side. And then we'll bring ourselves back to the center, bring the feet to the floor. Just close your eyes for a moment and follow your breath in and follow your breath out. Notice the sensations. Our next movement is a twist for the lower back, for the lower part of the spine. We'll take our feet just a little bit wider, and then we'll let the knees sink over to the right. So notice how my right foot is under my left knee. You could keep your head straight, or you could turn your head to the opposite direction. You can stay here, relax and breathe. And when you're ready to switch sides, you inhale, bring the knees back to the center. Exhale, take the knees over to the left. Now notice my left foot is underneath my right knee. You can relax your head. While you're in these poses, you focus on the breath. You inhale, the belly rises with air, and exhale, the belly empties. Some of you will feel quite a pull in this area. So if you've got very tight iliotibia band, or where the quadricep muscles meet the pelvis, if it's very tight, this is a wonderful stretch. So now we'll do an advanced variation of that. We'll take the knees over to the right. The right foot is underneath the left knee. And we'll lift the right foot and rest it on top of the left thigh, so that gives it a little bit of weight bearing. Again, you can turn your head or not, that's up to you. Both shoulder blades are on the floor, and you relax and breathe. There's a stretch down the left leg, from the top of the left leg down and out through the left knee. If this is too intense, then you take the foot, place it back on the floor, and this is the easier variation. So for those of you doing the advanced variation, to come out of this, you take the foot and place it back underneath the knee. Inhale back to the center. Exhale to the other side. It's the foot underneath the knee that you lift. So now it would be the left foot. You lift it up and rest it on top of the right thigh. The pressure is not on the knee, it's on the thigh. So if you find this very tight, then I would suggest that you do this more often. Many people have tightness around the pelvis. And you can do this several times. And just gauge how long to stay in this by your comfort level. If it's very painful, then don't stay here. Move more often. If it's comfortable, just stay and relax and breathe. Trying to find that stillness, that relaxation. And when you're finished, again, take a few moments to rest, to close your eyes, connect to the breath, and feel how your body reacted to that movement. Now we'll bring the knees to the chest. We'll put the hands on top of the knees. And we'll make a big circle with our knees, circling the knees away from each other. This is very good for your hip sockets. So nice and slow and mindful, circling in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. And another variation is to circle the knees together. Notice the area of your body that's being massaged on your lower back, your sacrum. And then you would go the opposite direction. And coming back to the center and slowly bringing your feet to the floor, arms down beside you. Close your eyes if you like and take a few moments to connect to the breath, and again witness and observe the sensations. The next movement is very good for our legs, the pelvis, the hips, and we need to have a strap, a yoga strap, a karate strap, a housecoat strap, even just a tie would work. So we'll start with both legs straight. We'll bring the right knee to the chest and put the strap around the foot and straighten the right leg up to the ceiling. The left leg needs to be active, so imagine you're pressing the back of the left thigh towards the floor and the left foot stays flexed. Now the action is in the lifted leg, and we're moving it in the direction behind our head and then releasing. So this is a movement in the pelvis and the leg, can help to stretch out the muscles and create more mobility in the hip joint. So we're not forcing anything, we're just going to our edge, the area that we find some resistance. We could make these movements larger. That's up to you how you feel. Or you could keep them quite small. Go back to pressing the back of the left thigh down towards the floor, keeping the left foot flexed. And when you feel that you've done enough, then slowly release the strap and slowly lower the leg to the floor and let both legs relax. And again, focus on your breath. It helps to close your eyes and feel what's happening in that right leg. Keep coming back to the breath. And then we'll do the other side. We'll start with both legs straight, both feet flexed, the backs of the upper legs pressing down towards the floor. We'll take the left knee to the chest, we'll put the strap around the ball of the foot or just a little lower, and pressing the back of the right thigh into the floor, keeping the right foot flexed. And this lifted foot can be somewhat flexed. And just see, what is your mobility? How far will your leg move in the direction behind you? And then you release it. Trying to keep this lifted leg as straight as possible and not forcing anything. Your shoulders are relaxed, your hands are soft, and you're not veering off to the side at all. You're trying to keep a straight line in the direction that your leg is moving. Don't forget about the leg on the floor, pressing down the back of the upper leg and keeping the foot flexed. Returning your awareness to your breath, nice and slow. And when you feel that you've done enough and you need a rest, slowly release the strap and lower that leg towards the floor and let both legs relax. Close your eyes if you like, focus on your breath and feel the sensations. You can do that movement several times on each side, especially if you suffer from hip issues or leg issues. And then we'll bend the knees. Bring the knees to the chest. We'll roll from side to side, being aware of the breath. We're going to get ready to come up onto our hands and knees. So from here, we roll over onto the right side, into the fetal position. We take the left hand, press it into the floor, and bring ourselves up. We'll go from here to our hands and knees. yourself up, we need to have our hips over top of our knees. We have our hands spread wide open. And if you have issues in your hands and your wrists, you can move your hands a little farther down the mat, because when your hands are directly under your shoulders, that's quite a bend in the wrist. So find a comfortable position, spread your fingers wide open, and have a look at your elbows, and just try to get the inner elbows facing each other. So if you have soft joints, you don't want to roll your arms too much. So bring them back, bringing the inner elbows to facing each other. From this position, we're going to continue with our dog and cat tilt. We were doing that before on our backs. And the pelvis rolls like a ball in those two opposite directions. So when you inhale, you lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, the chest will lift, and then the head will lift. Exhale, let the pelvis move towards you, down towards the floor. Inhale, the tailbone lifts up. Exhale, the tailbone moves down and forward. Inhale, lift your abdominal muscles up towards the ceiling. Don't let yourself collapse, keep lifting yourself up. Exhale, the tailbone moves down towards the floor and forward. And in this position, you can imagine a string between the shoulder blades, lifting your back up to the ceiling. Inhale, opening up into the dog tilt. Exhale, the cat tilt. This is great for your spine. It gets blood flow circulating through the discs. One more time. And then we'll take our knees a little wider, press ourselves back into the child's pose. We can rest the forehead on the floor and bring the arms down by our sides. Bringing our awareness to the breath, following the breath in and following the breath out. And from here, we'll extend our arms, spread our fingers wide open. Elbows are off the floor. We'll come up onto our hands and knees again. We'll bring the knees under the hips. We're going to do the puppy stretch. When we do the puppy stretch, we tuck the toes under. We move the pelvis about halfway back towards the floor, and we stretch the arms and hands forward. This is also a good spinal stretch. So you're moving your pelvis back, just about halfway, and you're stretching the arms forward. Remember to keep your shoulders nice and wide, your fingers spread wide open, and imagine that your tailbone and the top of your head are moving away from each other. Following the breath in and following the breath out. At any time you need to, you could come back up for a little rest in your table pose. So again, the puppy pose, you tuck the toes under, move your pelvis back towards the floor about halfway, extend your arms and hands, keeping your shoulders wide. And imagine the two-way stretch out through the tailbone and out through the top of your head. And from here we can go back into a child's pose. Take your knees a little bit wider, press yourself back, forehead to the floor, arms down beside you, focusing on your breath. We'll push ourselves up. We're going to go into a lunge pose. So from the table pose, we bring the right foot up beside the right hand, and we bend the right knee, so it's just a little forward of the heel. And the hips need to be lower than the knee. You don't want to be like this. Okay, there's no stretch, there's no lunge. So you move the foot a little bit down the mat so that the hips are lower than the knee. So if you find this is challenging, you can put blocks under your hands. And you try to let the pelvis relax, let it sink. At the same time, there's a string pulling you up from the top of your head. To make it a little more challenging, we can bring the hands to the knee, or we can reach up, palms facing each other, shoulders wide, letting the hips sink down. This is a very good stretch for the top of your quadricep muscles. Looking up. Bringing the hands back down towards the foot. Another option is to tuck the back toes under and lift the knee off the floor. Keep your chest lifted, your shoulder blades down your back, and then bring the knee back to the floor. We'll switch sides. We'll go back to our table pose. We'll take the left foot up to where the left hand was. Bend the left knee. It's just a little bit past the left heel. And you're letting your right leg relax, your hips sinking down as you lift your sternum. Shoulder blades are down. So again, you can be here with hands on your blocks, or you can bring your hands to this position. The more advanced variation with your shoulders wide. Following the breath in and following the breath out. Bringing the hands beside, we'll tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee off the mat. Straightening the lifted leg. And bringing the knee back down. Come back for a little rest into the child's pose. Now our next movement will be the downward dog, one of yoga's most popular poses. We'll start from our child's pose with our arms extended forward, our fingers spread wide open, our elbows off the floor. This sets us up for a good long downward dog. So we don't want to move our hands from this position. When we come up onto our hands and knees, we'll bring our knees under our hips. We'll tuck our toes and push yourself back, just like you did in the puppy pose. Looking at your knees. Lift your knees off the floor and lift your pelvis up to the ceiling. Now, focusing on your hands, make sure your index fingers and your thumbs are on the floor. You can energize that inner line from your index fingers and thumbs up the inside of your arms, all the way up to your tailbone, lifting up to the ceiling. Imagine you're moving the backs of your upper legs farther back, and you're letting your heels drop down towards the floor.
You can slowly walk your heels down or leave them up off the floor. Keep your shoulders wide and you're moving your chest towards your legs. You don't want to be in this kind of position. That's too hard on your wrists and your shoulders. So you move the upper body towards the legs. Focusing on the inner line of your arms, right from your index fingers all the way up through to your elbows and shoulders and up to the tailbone. When you need a rest, you bring the knees to the mat and rest in your child's pose. I'm going to come and stand up from here. Bring your hands to the floor and bring your knees a little closer together. We'll tuck the toes under and we'll take the knees off the mat and then come and stand up. So nice and slow so that you don't get dizzy. And then we'll come to our Tadasana. So we're going to begin in Tadasana, the standing mountain pose. We bring our feet as close as possible. So you find your comfortable stance. Some people can bring their toes together and some people might like their feet wider. So find a comfortable position and then take a few moments to let your weight shift forward and shift back on your feet until you find the center point where you're balanced between the fronts and the backs of your feet. And then imagine that you're pulling your quadricep muscles up the legs for strength. Sending the tailbone down, pulling the navel in, relaxing the arms, and that imaginary string pulling you up from the top of your head. Tadasana. You're strong and sturdy like a standing mountain. We're going to inhale and reach up. And then exhale, take the arms back down. Inhale, palms face up. And exhale, palms face down. One more time. Inhale. Your feet root down into the earth. The arms reach up. And exhale down. This time I'll add a side stretch. We inhale and reach up. We take the left hand and grab the right wrist, and as we pull the arm over to the left, the hips shift out to the right. Try to keep your balance on both feet. Send the tailbone down and bring the navel in. And then we'll inhale and reach up. Switch hands, the right hand grabs the left wrist and exhale, tipping over to the right, your hips shift to the left. But it's not a bend, it's a stretch, so you're reaching the arm up and away. Inhale back to the center, we'll try that once more. Grab the right wrist with your left hand, exhale over to the left side, you're pressing your hips over to the right. Inhale back to the center. Grab the left wrist with your right hand and exhale over to the right. Pushing your hips out to the left. Feel the stretch in your side body. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, bring the arms down. You can close your eyes for a moment and feel the sensations. Our first standing pose, Trikonasana, the triangle pose. We'll take our feet wider than our shoulders. And we begin with the arms out at shoulder height. We'll pivot the left foot to the left, 90 degrees, and the right foot follows, 45. The arms are up at shoulder height. We're going to reach into the left, keeping the arm up nice and high. So it's the upper body that tips over. The legs don't move. We could inhale and come back up, and exhale, reaching out through the left arm as the body tips to the side. We could put our right hand on our lower back and lengthen out through the top of the head. From here, you can take your left hand to the inside of the left leg and move your right shoulder back. You want the two shoulders to be in alignment with each other. And usually we need to move our head back rather than forward. If you like, you can take your right hand up to the ceiling and reach the two hands away from each other. Some of you will be able to touch the floor with your left hand. You can take the right lifted arm back if you like. And then we inhale and come back up and pivot the feet forward. Now we'll do the opposite side. We'll pivot the right foot to the right, 90 degrees. The left foot follows. The legs are straight. Looking out past the right hand, we reach without going down with the arm. We're lifting the arm up a little bit if we need to. And we can put the right hand behind the lower back again. So the torso is turning to the left. Just be careful of this knee, that it doesn't gravitate inward. It stays in line with the center of the leg. So you could come back up again, inhale and exhale. Taking the left hand and reaching it up as the right hand goes onto the inside of the right leg. So just be careful you're not rounding forward. You could practice with your back against a wall for alignment purposes, and feel that there's strength in both legs and weight in both legs. Standing poses are very good for the pelvis. Reaching the arms away from each other. Come back up and pivot the feet forward. Come back into Tadasana. Close the eyes for a moment. Focus on the breath. Notice the sensations. We'll do the Warrior Two pose now. Starting from Tadasana, we'll take our feet wider than the shoulders again. Take our arms out to shoulder height. We'll pivot the left foot 90 degrees, the right foot 45 degrees. And we'll look out past the left hand, and we'll bend the left knee over the center of the left foot. We could inhale up and exhale down. Holding the pose. Your body is upright. I haven't leaned to the side at all. Looking out past the left hand, making sure the knee has not collapsed inward. Relax the shoulders. Move the arms away from each other. And then pressing the left foot into the floor, straightening the left leg, we'll pivot the feet forward again. And we'll go to the other side. Pivoting the right foot 90 degrees, the left foot follows, looking out past the right arm and bending the right knee over the center of the right foot. Your upper body basically stays centered between the two legs. And we just check that the arms stay at shoulder height, that the arm hasn't come forward. Relaxing and looking out past the right arm. Building strength in the legs, in the core, helping the pelvic alignment. Press the right foot into the floor, straighten the right leg, and pivot the feet forward and coming back to Tadasana. Again, close your eyes for a moment. Focus on the breath and breathe. Feel the energy in the body. And we'll go into the extended warrior position now. So taking this wide stance once more, pivoting the left foot 90 degrees, the right foot 45, bending the left knee over the center of the left foot, and then reaching, like we did in Trikonasana, reaching out to the left, extending the left arm as far as you can. We'll turn the left palm up and rest the forearm on the left knee. We can put the right hand to our lower back again. This helps the rotation of the torso. We don't want to be like this. So this can be a bit challenging, but for some of you who are more advanced, you can bring the hand to the floor. This arm can reach up to the ceiling or have an extension like this. So you can be here or you can be here. Pressing the left foot into the floor, straightening the left leg, and coming up, pivoting the feet forward. Always taking a moment to breathe and to notice how you feel. With the feet wider than the shoulders, we'll pivot the right foot 90 degrees, the left foot 45. The arms are out at shoulder height. We'll bend the left knee over the center, the right knee, over the center of the right foot. And then we'll look out past the right hand and reach the spine tips, the torso tips to the side. Right forearm resting on the right thigh, palm face up. Left hand can go on to the lower back. Moving your shoulder back. So from here, you could reach up or extend the arm or bring the hand down to the floor. Pressing the foot into the floor, straightening the leg, and coming back up to Tadasana. Closing your eyes for a moment, finding the breath. One last standing pose before we balance. We're going to take our feet nice and wide, wider than our shoulders. And we're going to bend from the tops of the legs. We're going to keep the spine nice and straight and reach the arms forward. If you take your feet a little bit wider, you might find it easier to get to the floor. The arms are straight. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift your chest. Lift your tailbone. And then bend the elbows. And you're bringing your head down towards the floor. And then you come up the same way you went down. You can bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift yourself up. And then walk your feet into Tadasana again. Finding the balance on your feet. Tightening the quadricep muscles as if you're pulling those muscles up your legs. Sending your shoulder blades down. The imaginary string pulling you up from the top of your head. And now it's time to do our balance. So from Tadasana, we shift our weight onto the leg we're going to balance on. Try to engage your core abdominal muscles. And then when you're ready, we take the foot off the floor. So for those of you who are fairly new to this, you can keep your foot close to the floor. For For those of you who are more advanced, we bring the knee a little bit higher up towards the level of the hip. And you can take your hand under the leg and open it up to the side. An imaginary string pulling you up from the top of your head. Finding your breath. Bringing your knee back to the center and back down to Tadasana. Always starting in Tadasana, balanced on both feet, shifting the weight, engaging the core, keeping the upper body relaxed. Following the breath in and following the breath out. Trying to find ease in your balance. Good. And then we'll try shifting the weight, bringing the knee up, and bringing the hands around the knee. Staying upright. You could use a strap. I'll show you in a moment. Following the breath in and out. Strap. So when you can't reach your knees, you bring the strap around the knee, keeping your shoulders relaxed. Or if you don't have a strap, you could just put your hands to the side. And the more advanced variation is the knee up higher. Okay. Back to Tadasana. Close your eyes for a moment. Just witness and observe the sensations. And now we'll go back down onto the floor. Into our supine position again, with our knees bent. Checking the alignment of our head, focusing on our breath. And see how the body feels. See how you feel. We're going to do a couple of twists before we have our Shavasana. We'll bring the feet together and the legs together. We'll walk the feet towards our bottom. The arms can be out, but not higher than the shoulders. Keep your feet and legs stuck together, glued together. And then when you take your knees over to the right, your left foot comes off the floor because it's stuck to the right foot. Push through the heels of your feet. You can look up to the ceiling or turn your head to the left and relax and breathe. This stretch is for the midsection of your spine, your thoracic spine. When you're ready to come out, you inhale back to the center. Take a moment to walk your feet towards your bottom again. Keep your feet and legs tight together, and then exhale, take your knees to the other side. Pushing through the heels of your feet. You can turn your head in the opposite direction. Relax and breathe. Inhale into the belly. Exhale, relaxing into the exhalation. Inhale, we'll bring the knees back to the center. Take a moment to notice how the body feels. And now we'll bring our knees up to the chest. Interlace the hands. You can wiggle to get a little more comfortable. And then we'll take the arms back down to our sides. Keep your knees nice and high and tucked up towards your chest, and then take them over to the floor on the right. If your left shoulder blade comes off the floor, you could put a towel or a block under it for support. You can turn your head to the opposite side, relax and breathe. Try to let your legs relax. You can place your hand on your top knee just for a little bit of weight bearing. And then we inhale, bring the knees back to the center, and exhale, take the knees to the other side. Again, if your right shoulder comes off the floor, you can put something under it so that it can relax. You don't want the arm to be hanging in midair. So it needs a little support if it's off the floor. The legs are resting on the floor. Two or three breaths. Try to use your abdominal muscles instead of your back muscles as you inhale and bring your knees back to the center. So you may prefer to do that twice, but if there's any pain, if it's not for you, then don't do it. Stay as long as you like in this twist. And then we'll bring our feet to the floor. We're going to get ready for our Shavasana, our relaxation pose. So let's bring the soles of our feet together and let the knees open up. And bring the arms down by your sides. And then we'll slide one foot down the mat and the other foot down the mat. If you have a sore back in this position, put a rolled up towel under your knees, or a rolled up yoga mat under your knees. Adjust your alignment of your head, and close your eyes, and close your mouth. Bring your mind and awareness to that space below the nostrils, above the upper lip, where you witness and observe the breath as it falls into the nostrils and falls out of the nostrils. Notice the pause or the gap at the end of each breath. And feel the support of the floor beneath you. With each exhalation, your body releases and relaxes downward towards the floor, towards the earth. And the moment you notice your mind has wandered, bring it back. Bring your mind back to the nostrils, back to the breath. Back to where you are right now, here, in this moment. Bring your mind and awareness down to your feet. You don't have to move your feet, just feel them. Feel them from inside. Feel the tops of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, your heels, your ankles. And imagine your feet releasing, relaxing, gravitating downward towards the floor. And then feel your lower legs, your knees, your upper legs. Get a sense of the fronts of the legs and the backs of the legs. And send the message from the brain to the legs to relax, or imagine the legs releasing, relaxing,
letting go, sinking down. And then bring your mind and awareness to the pelvis, the hips, the buttocks, the lower back. And imagine this area gravitating downward, releasing, relaxing, sinking down towards the floor, letting go. And bring your awareness to the upper chest, the upper back, your shoulders. Imagine this area gravitating downward towards the floor. We hold a lot of stress in this area. So now your shoulders are supported by the floor. Your shoulders can relax and let go. Feel your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, and your hands. Imagine the arms and hands releasing, relaxing, sinking down towards the floor. Bring your mind and awareness to the heaviness of your head, the softness of your face, and create a tiny little space between your lips to relax the muscles of your mouth. You're still breathing through the nostrils. Feel the corners of your mouth gravitate downward towards the floor. And bring your awareness to your eyes. Your eyes are resting, the eyeballs sinking down into their sockets. And feel your forehead relax from the center to the sides. And then the very top of the head, the crown of your head, imagine this area relaxing. Bring your mind to the nostrils, to the breath. Let the breath fall in and fall out. You are witnessing and observing not only the breath, but the body as well. You can stay in this position for as long as you like. When you're ready to come out, just gently move your fingers and your toes. Very gently move your head from side to side, rolling it. If you'd like to have a stretch, slide the arms along the floor until they're up over your head. Bring your legs a little closer together. Inhale, nice big stretch. Exhale out through the open mouth. One more time. Bending the knees, bringing the knees to the chest, and rolling from side to side. Eventually rolling over onto the right side into the fetal position. Using your left hand, press yourself up back to a seated posture. Finding your sit bones, relaxing your shoulders, connecting to the breath. Bringing your hands to the heart center.
Bringing your head down towards your hands. And namaste.